Here's what nobody tells beginners about AI. It's not going to save you time on day one. It's going to feel clunky, give you generic outputs, and make you wonder if you're doing it all wrong. But by day 7, you'll have saved 3+ hours and stop staring at blank pages or documents that you just don't want to have to sift through. This video is your day 1 to day 7 roadmap, and we're going to do it in 3 parts. What AI actually is, how to use it without getting generic garbage, and 2 beginner workflows that you can try this week. Everyone keeps saying learn to prompt better, but a better prompt isn't going to save a bad workflow. And I've seen people with messy prompts get really amazing results because they know what to ask for and where AI fits into the process. That's what we're going to be covering today. Not prompting tricks, I have a whole different video for that, but real AI use cases that are actually going to save you time. If I'm new to you, hey, I'm Victoria, and I help founders use AI strategically, not desperately, and I build custom agents, train chatbots, and I'm obsessed with the difference between this is going to save you 3 hours and this creates 3 more tabs. AI can speed you up, but it can't replace your judgment, and you get to decide, and I am going to show you how. So you're not too late to learn AI. You are right on time. And here's what I want you to kind of walk into this thinking. The difference between 2023 and 2026 isn't that AI got easier, it's that the crap out there just got louder. And this beginner's guide is to cut through that for you. Look, AI can feel like everyone's got the instruction manual except you, but here's the thing. There's no manual. The people who look like experts, they've just been failing faster and documenting less. So before we do a couple of workflows, I want to get a couple things straight. Most importantly is, what is AI actually doing when you ask it something? So at its core, I want you to think about AI like a prediction machine. It is identifying patterns, and it's not really all that intelligent. It's finding patterns, and then it's predicting what is likely to come next. And that's really what it's doing. There's kind of 2 different models that I want to introduce you to today. And I'm not going to go through things like ChatGPT 4.0 versus 5.2 or Claude Sonnet versus Haiku. I'm not going to go through that because you don't need to know that. I just want to break down the 2 overarching ways that these models work. There's regular models, which is really just given this text, what comes next. And then there's reasoning models, which are not new, but I think that they are becoming a little bit more baked in. So reasoning models kind of include these extra steps automatically. They include things like it's coming up with internal notes, it's planning, it's checking. And really, like, those reasoning models you might see them as thinking are still prediction, but just with a little bit more deliberation, like a little bit more deliberate in what it's going to give you as the output. So it's not thinking, it's pattern matching at scale, which means your job is to give it patterns that are worth matching and point it in the direction of what you need it to do. And this is why clear context matters more than having a clever prompt or the perfectly written prompt, because AI isn't reading your mind, it's reading what you give it. So the best way to demonstrate this is actually with an example. So I'm going to walk you through a workflow. This workflow is so useful when you're short on time, but you can't miss something important. Think you downloaded a 80-page PDF and instantly regretted it, or a client or your boss sent you something and asked you to review it real quick before the end of the day, or you got an SOP and you just need straight to the point, or you just need to know what you have to do. This is where AI is really incredible. It's not a decision maker, but a compression tool. So there's a couple different steps here, and bear with me because I think this is really going to help anchor what you can use AI for in the beginning. So step 1 is decide on the purpose. Before you give AI anything, ask, why are you reading this? What do you actually need from it? For example, you might need the main arguments, you might need the action steps, or the risks or the red flags, or you might need to explain it to somebody else later. And AI is going to perform wildly differently depending on why you are reading the document and why you are looping in ChatGPT or Claude into this document. Step 2 is you're going to upload the PDF and you're going to set the role. Instead of saying something like summarize this PDF, you're going to do this. You're going to say, Act as a business strategist reviewing this document for relevance. Act as a beginner-friendly explainer, or act as a skeptical editor looking for gaps or assumptions. The reason that you're going to set this role is because it's going to tell AI how to read and not just what to do. Step 3, ask for a structured summary. So an example could be, give me a high-level summary, then break it into sections and bullet point takeaways. And this is what's going to give you a skimmable summary of that 80-page PDF. Step 4 is, I really want you to practice this. Don't miss this step. It's truly just ask questions. Things like, what assumptions is the author making? What is missing that I might need to expect? Or where should I be skeptical? And this step is going to allow AI to act as like a second set of eyes for you and help you to think clearer about the content. The better you get at asking AI questions, the better your output and the better your collaboration with AI is going to be. And then step 5 is to translate it. So you can ask AI to translate it back to you. What's your use case? An example prompt here could be, based on this PDF, what applies to my situation as a small team, as a website designer, as a social media manager, or a journalist? What will this look like in practice? Or you could also ask, what are 3 things I could do with this right now in my life, in my business, in my career, with my health, so on and so forth. I want you to notice what didn't happen here. I didn't ask AI what to think. I asked it to help me see better. Okay, so you probably just saved yourself like 45 minutes of reading, plus taking notes, plus reading it again and highlighting it and all of that. But that's just one workflow. I want to also show you how to think about AI more broadly. So I like to think about intro to AI as 3 distinct levels. Most people get stuck at level 1, and let me show you what that looks like versus where I actually want you to be at the end of this video. So level 1 is they're using it as a Google replacement. Maybe you've dabbled in this yourself. You're asking random questions. You're using somebody else's prompt. You're copy and pasting things. You're not giving it any context. You're not worried about building up memory. You're just starting a new chat every time. You're giving it generic. You're probably getting generic garbage out from that, and it fails because you're treating it like a word vending machine. Think vague question in, generic answer out. Now, level 2 is where I really want you to be at the end of this video. A level 2 user is thinking about it kind of like a thought partner. They're sharing their brain dumps. They're outlining with it. They're exploring angles with it. It's drafting things with you. And this is where AI stops being a tool and starts to be a collaborator for you in your business, your work, your life. And then there's level 3, which is, to me, all about the systems that support AI and that support you with AI. So those are things like repeatable workflows, AI that remembers your brand and your voice. You might hear about AI agents, automation, human approval loops. You don't need this day 1, but if you find yourself doing the same AI task like 3+ times, that's when you might want to think about building a system or working with me to build that with you. Anyway, my personal goal for you in this video is that you feel like a strong level 2 user and that you are able to ask ChatGPT, Claude more questions while you are using it. So the skill gap in 2026 isn't going to be technical. It's going to be around judgment. The most valuable people aren't going to be like the best prompt writers. They're going to be the ones that can say, yes, this is something that gets automated with AI, or no, this is something that needs to be human. And to do that, one of the things that you need to understand to have that good judgment is what AI is actually good at and where it still kind of sucks. So AI is good at pattern recognition still. It's great at summarizing. Drafting to a point. We'll talk a little more about drafting later. Repurposing. It's actually great at repurposing. Research aggregation and removing any sort of like blank page paralysis that you have. Think writing a hard email, starting a new blog post, writing a sales page, sprucing up your resume. It's great at removing that blank page paralysis. But on the flip side, it's really bad at original lived experiences. Even if you are giving AI your personal like stories, it still isn't going to be able to convey it fully in written content. It's just It doesn't have lived experience. That's something that you bring to the table with AI. It's also not going to understand nuance without guidance. It also has very little ethics. Like, you can very easily steer AI in a bad direction. So you have to be like that source of truth and that source of like right versus wrong. It's also bad at strategy without context, and it can't make decisions. There is a little asterisk there, but that's not for this video. So now that you know where AI fits, let's make it usable. So here's the simplest way to get non-robotic results without becoming a prompt engineer, because you don't need to do that. Most beginners will say something like, write me an email, and wonder why it sucks. And I want to show you kind of what is missing here. And then I will have another training linked for you down below. So the most basic like prompt framework is 4 different parts. Number 1 is the role. So the role is just, how do you want AI to act? Act as a business coach, act as my dietitian, act as a affiliate marketer that helps influencers land or make more money with their affiliate links. You're going to give it a task. So what is that task that you want it to do? And when you think about a task, I want you to think about like a job title or like a job description. Like, the role is actually the job title. The task is like that job description. Like, what do you need it to do? The format is, how do you want the answer structured? And the context is all the information that it needs to be useful. So that could be things like information on your business. That could be research that you've done. That could be your outline if you've started something and haven't finished it. Context can mean so many different things depending on the prompt, but just think about it like all of the info that the AI needs to be successful and give you a good output. So let's go through some good and bad examples. So a bad example of a prompt is, write a blog post. A good example of a prompt is, act as a marketing strategist writing for small business owners. Draft a 1,000-word blog post outline on blank topic, and the goal here is to help readers understand whatever you're writing about. Use conversational tone, short paragraphs, and here is my brand voice with examples of maybe things that you've written as a human. And I have another video that focuses extensively on prompting, and I will link that down below, but good prompts aren't just asks. They're context heavy. And if you're doing this more than once, that's when you need a brand document, so you're not just starting from scratch every time. And I actually do have a document down below that I will link for you as well. It's called the AI Brand Brain. So you're not starting from scratch every time you are writing a new prompt. All right, you've got the framework. Now let's show you how this is actually going to fit into a little bit of a more complex workflow than the PDF example. So let's say you are writing a blog post and you want to take a stab at writing blog posts with AI. And this is where most beginners kind of go wrong. They ask AI to write for them, and I want to show you how to write with it so it actually still sounds like you, still performs like you, and still has that human element that AI otherwise won't have. So step 1, you're going to decide on the outcome. What are you asking AI to do for you? Then get more specific. So for example, write a blog post, and then you're going to tell AI who the blog post is for, what someone should understand after reading it, where it's going to live on the internet, why you're writing it, and any outline that you've drafted. Step 2, you're going, and this is all in one thread, by the way. You're not starting a new chat every single time. You are working in the same chat window. Step 2 is you're going to draft the title. Here you might say, here's the working title I'm thinking about, then ask AI for 10 variations and figure out what angle is the strongest for your audience. AI is helping you to see the options, and it's not choosing for you. You are always the one choosing, the one with the judgment, right? Step 3 is outline the blog post. So give AI your proposed outline that you've written up. Ask if the order makes sense. Ask if there's anything you're missing that is important to the audience to understand. Ask if there's any spots that maybe don't flow in your outline. AI is amazing at structure. It's also really good at bridging gaps where maybe you're like, the transition's not transitioning right. It can help you with that. AI is amazing at structure, especially if your ideas as they are good and just need to be organized, maybe like have holes poked in them. I personally love outlining with AI for that exact reason. Step 4 is SEO and context. So AI can help with SEO support, but it cannot replace real search data using something like key search, SERPs, like things like that. I still check a keyword tool, Google, and real questions people ask, and then I bring that context back into AI because, again, it can help you with SEO, but it can't do SEO research. Can't do it as of right now, as of December 2025. So I will check with a keyword tool, Google, look at Reddit, see what questions people are asking, and I'll bring all of that context back into AI with something like, here's the keywords or the questions that I'm seeing. What am I missing? Again, this is about integrating with AI and not depending on it. You are just taking your research, your thoughts, and you are basically using AI in this scenario as a sounding board. Another way you can use it is for this particular step is if you've already written it, you can say, where can I better integrate these SEO keywords? Step 5 is writing. For beginners, I really don't recommend asking AI to write your blog post unless you've properly trained it or given it the context it needs to do a really good job. So you're going to take that outline you co-created with AI and write the blog post. Step 5 is one of the more important steps of this workflow is you're going to ask AI to edit your blog post. Ask where things aren't clear. This is something that I think a lot of beginners almost never think to ask AI, but something like, what am I overlooking? What would a beginner need to know to understand? What assumptions am I making? AI is amazing at pointing out blind spots, finding missing steps, unspoken context, and finding things that feel obvious but really aren't all that obvious. And then step 7 is the human review. So you are always the last step here. You are always editing it, making judgment calls, and finalizing your personal examples that might get a little messy while you are working with AI and going back and forth. Because AI will give you garbage sometimes, here are some ways that you can fix it without spiraling. I have 4 quick hits that can help you really figure out why AI isn't AIing for you. So if your output is generic, you didn't give it enough context, you didn't provide enough examples, and maybe you didn't give it any constraints. Constraints are things that you're like, never do this, or if this happens, do that instead, or if you find this, do this. Examples are examples, and context, we've talked a lot about context. If the output is robotic, you didn't give it your voice or writing samples, so give it examples of how you write as a human. If the output is just completely wrong, you can ask it to explain its reasoning and then correct it. If it's still not working, you can try a different tool. I'll be honest, ChatGPT is great at some things, Claude is great at other things, and I do use both of them depending on what I'm working with. Or maybe the task just isn't a good fit for AI at this time. If you only remember one thing from this video, let it be this. Your first week with AI should be about comfort and repetition, not mastering tools. Okay, so I want to wrap this video up with what your first week should actually look like, because I've watched hundreds of people do this, and the ones that succeed, they're all following the same pattern. So day 1 and 2, consider it an awkward introduction, that uncomfortable first date. You're going to open ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. I really prefer ChatGPT or Claude. A free account is fine for this, and just talk to it. Ask it something random, like, what's a good recipe using leftover chicken? Or explain quantum physics like I'm 10, or help me brainstorm names for my dog's new Instagram account. I'm serious. The goal here isn't to be productive. It's just to get familiar with chatting back and forth with AI. Because right now, AI feels like a test, right? And I want you to remove that pressure. I want you to just give it a picture of your fridge and say, what can I make with these ingredients, and assuming I have the basic necessities in my pantry. Just spend 20 minutes, get weird with it, and then close the tab. It's not that serious the first couple days. Day 3 and 4, we're going to get a little bit more real with our AI. So now I want you to pick something that you actually need to do this week. It can be something small, like an email that you're dreading writing, an outline for a blog post, maybe a summary of a meeting, maybe preparing slides for something. Use one of the workflows that I showed you, like the PDF review or the blog review, your choice. It's going to feel clunky and you're going to second guess yourself, and that's normal, but do it anyways. Do this for a couple days. Just get used to thinking, how can AI help me with this task? And let that be where you start. And then days 5 and 7, I really want you to just look back at the week. And this is a part that a lot of people skip, but it's really important. I want you to sit down with coffee in hand and ask yourself, where did AI save me time this week? Where did I waste time reprompting? What part felt natural? What part made me want to give up? And I want you to write all of that down because that is your data going into week 2. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use real tasks. You're going to then review it again at the end of the week until you really start to get clear on your use cases for AI. So what does a win look like? By the end of month 1, you should have saved like 3 to 5 hours at least. You should have stopped staring at blank pages and you should have one workflow that you'd be willing to use again. Not 10, not a whole system. I just want you to get used to one workflow that you've created that works. Think one thing at a time. So as a beginner, what should you completely ignore? Custom GPTs, go ahead and ignore them. API documentation, no, not yet. You don't need to learn prompt engineering. Absolutely not. Definitely not. None of that matters until you've gone through the same task with AI at least 3 times and realized, oh, I should probably systematize this. And as a little note, when you find something that works, save it into a Google Doc, save it into a Notion. I love when I find a prompt that I'm like, that worked really well, and I can just add it to a Google Doc and come back to it later. So you're going to know you're ready for more when you catch yourself saying, I keep doing the same thing, I should make it faster. That's the signal, not before. Then just do the first week and know that that's enough. Now, if you're doing this kind of work more than once, that's where things like saved instructions come in, custom AI setups, and full AI systems really start to matter, but that's all stuff for a future video. Now, if you're sitting here thinking, okay, but I want to give AI all that context every single time I use it, I get it. And that's exactly why I built the AI Brand Brain. It's a fillable document that captures your voice, your values, your offers, your audience, all the context that AI needs to stop sounding like a corporate robot and start sounding more like you as a human. You'll fill it out once, and then every time you work with AI, you just drop it in. So you don't have to start from scratch. You're not getting generic outputs, and it always has the context so you can focus on the prompt and not giving it all the background information. I'll link it down below. It's the shortcut that I wish I had on day 1. And if you are already past beginner stage and you're already doing these workflows weekly and thinking, I need this to run without me, that's where we can talk about a custom AI agent or working together one-on-one. Link for both are in the descriptions. I want you to go pick one workflow from this video and try it this week, then come back and tell me how it went. And I actually read your comments, I promise. But I will see you in the next video.